Hello and welcome to another episode of the Workplace Podcast with Nelson Dominic. In our last episode, we looked at the place of passion, purpose, and pay in determining a career path. Today, however, we'll be taking a drift from the Career Matters series. We hope to be back to that conversation in next episode. But we're looking at something very interesting today, right? Now, according to the Harvard Business Review for 2023 January, there are about 9 trends that has been said to shape the world of work for 2023 and also by extension beyond. The question is, what are these trends? How do they affect employees? How do they affect employers? And how should employees position themselves even in the wake of these trends? How also should employers manage the workplace so as to get the best out of the employees in this time? So this conversation is both talking to both employees and employers, and I'll be making an attempt to look at these trends and trying to demystify them. The first on those trends is that employers will quite hire in-demand talent. Now, what does that mean? This means that organizations will use different discrete methods, such as referrals, online platform, internal mobility to attract and retain talent without triggering any internal war in the system. Now, what does that mean? Organization will be very strategic in trying to hire and retain talent. Now, they would look for online platforms, internal mobility to hire talent. As an employee, as a career person, what does this say to you? We're saying to you in essence that how do you position yourself internally as a person of value beyond your current role? When employers are looking to offer higher roles, higher positions, have you positioned yourself over time as a person of value? What's your competence level? How have you positioned? In 2023, we'll see a lot of these things, right? Now the question is, are you ready, to be one of those people that employers would take more seriously in this period? As employers as well, what's the implication for us, right? The implication is basically that we might need to look more internally into our talent, help them grow, help them develop, and position them for other positions even within the workplace. Number 2, hybrid flexibility will reach the front lines. Now, what does this mean? I know that from 2020 to date, we've had several hybrid work structure, remote work structure has even become more popular. Interestingly, more people who have not benefited from this hybrid or flexible work culture would be coming into this space at this time. I mean, people in manufacturing, hospitality, retail. The workplace in 2023 and beyond will be designed to provide them more flexibility as never seen in the workplace. And so if you are an employee in this space, watch out for this. This would happen. The question again that I want to say to employees is easy for employees to demand for flexibility, hybrid, remote. The question is, are you ready? Are you rightly positioned? Do you have the discipline to work in an hybrid system, in a fully remote system, and still deliver the necessary value you should deliver? For employers, what processes, what policies you want to put in place to ensure that as you give more flexibility to these employees, they do not abuse it and you can get more value as well from these employees? Now, these are things we should look at. On the third trend, we'll see that managers will find themselves sandwiched right between leader and employee expectations. It is happening already. Employees expect to be treated a kind of way. Leaders of the organization expect some kind of result from managers. And so you find managers are sandwiched in between, trying to understand how to navigate both sides and to make better decisions. So managers will face increased pressure from both senior leaders and employees to deliver results, support well-being, foster collaboration, drive innovation, and they will need new skills and tools to balance those competing demands. So for managers in this case, the question should be, how positioned are you? How well would you build and develop your skills around collaboration, around team management and teamwork, around self-discipline, self-leadership, and team leadership, right? Because the expectations and the pressure from both sides will be heavy, and you're expected to deliver and to drive the workplace to success. The fourth area to look at for is there'll be pursuit of non-traditional candidates that will expand the talent pipeline. Now, what does this mean? This simply means that you look beyond criteria such as degree, certification, and experience to identify candidates. You find that some companies, for instance, Google, no longer look for your certifications. They just go ahead and hire, right? Based on you have the skills, if you have the skills and the competence for doing that job. And so going forward in 2023 and beyond, there'll be less focus on certifications. There'll be less focus on degrees, right? Those traditional things that we used to look at for and then we put on the high pedestals, there'll be less focus on those things, right? Our experience, relevant skills and potential will be what employers will be looking out for in 2023 and beyond. So the question I want to ask you as an employee is, are you rightly positioned again? Do you have the right skills, the right experience needed to thrive, even in the now of work, as we can so call it now? In 2023, the businesses will look less on non-traditional candidates, and this will expand the pipeline. So what does that mean? That basically means that you would need as an employee to be able to show that beyond your degree and certificates, you have more competencies to deliver value to the business. As employers, what does it imply to us, right? It implies to employers to say, take advantage of this now. Do not get late to the party. Do not come to the party when the candidates have been taken away from the pipeline and you have to then be scuffling and running around getting the few that will be remaining in the pool. Take advantage of it. Deal with all of those plenty sentiments and biases you have, and take this opportunity to increase your talent pipeline. Number 5 is, we've had people who have come through several traumas, right? And so we'll see healing of the pandemic trauma that will open the path to sustainable performance. Now, what does this mean? Organizations will recognize that many employees are suffering from psychological effects of the pandemic, such as anxiety, depression, burnout, and grief, right? I've seen that play out even in my current workplace. Depression, grief, burnout constantly, right? Now, we would need as organizations to provide proactive rest, mental health support, and trauma-informed leadership to help employees heal and thrive. Now, this does not in any way mean that employees would come and dump all of their emotions on the organization. It only means that organizations will be better positioned to provide them the right support they need mentally, emotionally, to be able to deliver even in the workplace. Number 6 is that organizations will drive diversity and inclusion forward and amidst the growing pushback. We see that even at the moment now, there's a continual interest in advancing diversity and inclusion in the workplace. In as much as there are some resistance from some stakeholders, some other stakeholders like regulators, investors, customers, or employees will use this data to be able to drive growth in the workplace. And so diversity and inclusion has come to stay in the workplace. And so as employers, it's expected that you do not come late to the party as well. Ensure that you have a diverse team in terms of demography, in terms of gender, in terms of knowledge, and all of those things you want to look at, different metrics around diversity. Very interestingly, right, another trend is that there's the gig workers will demand more than flexibility. When we say gig workers, what do we mean? Gig workers are your freelancers, guys who are contractors, consultants, who you just hire to do more jobs. But we're seeing in 2023, right, and it's really very interesting, right, that they expect better compensation, security, and opportunities for learning and growth. They want you to give them learning and development programs. They want you to also include them in your mental health programs you give to your other employees. They are looking for more beyond the flexibility you give to them. And so if you have a fixed mindset as an employer of gig employees, you may have issue retaining these guys. And so it's important that we understand that gig workers will demand more. However, we should strive to meet them at the middle. Number 8 of this trend is that automation will accelerate reskilling, right? And I say to learning and development managers, right, in the wake of automation, as we see in 2023, how exactly are you repositioning your workforce in trying to improve their learning and development? As an employee as well, how exactly are you reskilling and upskilling to be able to understand how automation is aiding whatever you do in your workplace to make you better positioned? Right, this is one of the trend, and as employers and as employee, we must be really positioned to see that the right upskilling is happening to help us. The last and final one is collaboration will involve beyond teams. Organizations will encourage employees to collaborate across teams, functions, and boundaries, right? And more than just in silos, two, three teams, right? They will use network analysis, social recognition, cross-functional projects to foster the culture of collaboration. And so we'll see that collaboration will take a very big place in 2023 and beyond in the workplace. My question to you as an employee is, with all of these trends you're seeing, how positioned are you? It's interesting because if we do not understand these trends and see how to key ourselves into making the best of the workplace, we might in no time begin to lose our value and our competencies might begin to nosedive. As employers of labor, how do we even understand all of these trends and how they're impacting the workplace in 2023? A better understanding of these trends will help us in positioning the organization, in providing the right support for our team members, in getting the best of the talents in the pool, and also building our workplace to be one of those best places to work in 2023 and beyond. I also hope that this podcast have been able to open your eyes to see the trends of the workplace as as specified by our business review, and also by my understanding as well, and that you would be able to pick some salient lessons from this and deliver results both for organizations and also as an employee in 2023. Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you got more value than expected. If you have any question, comment, or suggestion, please reach out to us. I'll be more than available to help you and to provide clarity. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram as The Workplace Podcast with Nelson Dominic. Also, please tune in to listen to our several episodes on all our audio streaming platforms as well as on YouTube. This is The Workplace Podcast with Nelson Dominic, navigating the workplace one episode at a time.